channel.
What it do, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Iron Rounds, and today we are continuing on our hit person slash assassins tournament. And on today we're having Evelyn Salt from the Salt film going against Jason Bourne from the Bourne franchise to see who's gonna move on to the next round. Y'all ready? All right. And now this is how we determine it. We go 3 rounds. First round goes to rage, second round goes from close up, and third round is for getting it done. Let's start with round 1, range. Let's start with Evelyn. Okay, so maybe she doesn't show a lot of moments in the film where she is using a range distant precision shot. There's no sniper moment, she shot from a far away shot. There's probably a moment where she's about to assassinate, like, I think some kind of prime minister or something like that, or some leader of a nation, and she gets a shot on him, but that wasn't really much of a range. It was like somewhat still semi-close to each other. But there isn't a situation where, or a certain scene in the movie where you could add and make the argument where range is still a factor to her. Now, the fire extinguisher. Now, what am I talking about? Okay, well, there was a situation where in the beginning she gets claimed to be, a terrorist or something like that, a spy, and then she manages to create a weapon out of a fire extinguisher and makes like some kind of form of a cannon. Okay, using a fire extinguisher, she was able to make a cannon out of it, and she took out and capacitated like a small group of SWAT team members. But doing that alone shows that she's capable of using a weapon that could do some really serious damage to someone. And last time I checked, Bourne isn't exactly fireproof or explosive proof. Now, that's pretty much the only range argument I can make on Evelyn Salt. All right, so let's talk about Jason Bourne. Now, there was one scene in the first film where there was a sniper who had an upper advantage against him at like some small house somewhere far, far away. And he was in the forest, he had range, he had cover, he had plenty of opportunities to take Bourne out. Bourne decides to grab a hunting rifle from the person's house, and he manages to blow up like a tank to create diversion, and then manages to get into the woods close enough into a meadow where the sniper was there too, waiting for him, and manages to get the drop on him. Even with an impossible environment to see and all that stuff, and from having the less advantage, Jason managed to get the close-up and get the shot and take the guy down. But of course, that is only one scene and one instance in the movie where Bourne gets to show he has some kind of credibility when it comes to range and distance shots. So between the two, who would win? I'm gonna give this one surprisingly to Evelyn Salt. Now, the reason I say this is because let's say it's not about 100% needing to be 100% unbeatable. In this circumstances, you just have to have that one opportunity to say in an argument that there's a chance they could do some damage doing something with an opportunity. Now, if Evelyn gets caught up in an environment where she's stuck in a hallway with Bourne and there's a range shot, if she manages to create enough time to create that cannon, she could shoot Bourne with that cannon, fire extinguisher bazooka thingy, and put Bourne out of commission with that. Bourne might have the gun, but I mean, a gun's not going to stop a cannon from coming his direction. It's still going to blow into his face and then still create a diversion or put him out. Either way, Bourne is out for that one, and Evelyn wins that. So I'm going to give this round to Evelyn Salt. Round 2, close-up. Now, let's talk about Evelyn. Now, Evelyn is actually impressive because she can take a beating. Take a real amount of beating and then bring it back to somebody if she needs to. There are some situations where she shows in the movie that she's an impressive fighter, or she could take someone out. She used a high knee drop to put someone out of commission. She took one of her old friends out with a pair of handcuffs. And remember, let's not forget the cop escape scene where she's in the cop car with 3 cops, and she manages to take both cops out who were right next to her, and then one in the front using a taser to have him drive and maneuver with it. Now, that's impressive because it goes to show that Evelyn Salt is got you in any situation to put you, even if you got her close up or far away or like somewhat far, she could still put you down for the count. Now, of course, you will also have to make the argument that Evelyn didn't actually always beat these people or her opponents with a fist to fist. She usually uses a weapon to do it, so she does need a weapon to beat somebody. Now, let's talk about Bourne. Bourne has shown throughout the entire franchise the guy can beat. I mean, he showed his martial arts or his hand-to-hand combat skills. He's impressive, okay? The guy knows how to fight. He took down some guy with one punch. I mean, There are multiple situations in every franchise where he's shown fighting multiple people, doing multiple things. An example was when he uses a pen in the first movie to take a guy out, and he manages to jam it into that guy's finger. Another one is when he disarms another guy using a roll of paper to disarm him, even though the other guy had, I think, like a sharper weapon on him. So, and Bourne has been put in more intensive situations when it comes to near-death experience fighting hand-to-hand. That being said, I do believe that Bourne might ease up on Evelyn Salt during a fight, because clearly throughout the whole franchise, Bourne is usually fighting males, alpha male kind of guys who think they're tougher than him and stuff like that. He's never usually fighting females. So I do want to say that he has a soft side for females during the franchise. So I do believe that he might go easy on Evelyn, which Evelyn could take advantage of. But between the two, who would win this fight? As much as I want to believe that Evelyn Salt could win against Bourne in a fight, I do believe Bourne just has a lot more of a background feat to show that he has beaten countless people in multiple situations, and he knows how to handle himself very well, more than Evelyn can without a weapon. So close up, if Evelyn runs out of bullets or gets the gun disarmed out of her hand, I do believe that Bourne could put her out of commission for the count, and this means that he wins this round. All right, round 3, get it done. Let's start with Evelyn. Now, Evelyn, let's make the argument. Evelyn, given enough time, if she maybe gets a high knee drop on Bourne out of nowhere, surprise element attack, and he gets out for just a few moments, it gives Evelyn enough time to create and invent a weapon that she could use to set as a trap to take Bourne out of commission or to make him disarmed. That is a possibility, because Bourne just kind of goes in first. He is aware and very situation aroundness, but against someone who is got all these impressive skills never been shown before, I do believe that she could get the surprise element out of him during that situation, which is a very small possibility. But also now the downfall to that situation, obviously, with Evelyn is that if she happens to not have enough time and Bourne gets back up, it does mean that Bourne will still have the upper hand, because Bourne is better with hand-to-hand combat. Both can shoot bullets at each other, but once the bullets are gone, or can both disarm each other as well. So once the weapons are gone and it's Evelyn against him in hand-to-hand again, Bourne just has a lot more feats and depths where he shows that he fights better than Evelyn Salt did in her whole scene in the movie. That being said, that if the fight got into an environment where Evelyn had to maneuver around, it would favor her as well, because think about it, when she was being chased, she could jump over trucks to trucks. So if Bourne and her were fighting in an environment where it's moving and they're not being, he's not in a driver's seat in her car, but both of them are not in a vehicle and they're actually just driving or moving around in an environment that's like, let's say, a train or something like that, Evelyn has a much more ability of adapting than Bourne does in that situation, which kind of gives Evelyn the advantage there. Now, with Jason Bourne, even though, let's say, you could just argue the skills itself and even the impressive weaponry he can do with a lot of things, I will say the brains is also some benefactor to that as well. Bourne is very smart, and I mean very observant as well. He's able to tell you how much someone weighs, someone can carry their own, how far he could run, how many license plates are in the parking lot, memorize them all by heart. The guy is intelligent beyond compare, which means that if you got that guy processing situations of environments and stuff like that, he's going to probably have the more upper advantage in that situation. If he's in a car, he's going to have the way upper advantage. Remember, he used a crowd to create diversions. He knows how to make traps. He knows how to get around you. He knows how to use maps to escape. He knows a lot of ways to get the upper hand. So using a brain like that in the process against someone with also the same type of intellect, or somewhat of an intellect, but Bourne, I want to say, it's a little bit smart, because that kind of brain functionality is not normal to a lot of people. Like, we can handle a certain amount of things, but Bourne was able to process more things than we can comprehend sometimes. So I do believe that Bourne's brain is going to help him get the upper advantage, not to mention obviously his impressive marksman skills or his fighting skills could give him the upper hand in this situation. However, you can argue that if Bourne gets mentioned in a situation, let's say if Evelyn does her homework and she mentions Bourne in past in any way, Bourne does have the tendency to pause for a brief amount of time to think about his past. It kind of like brings in memories and rushes back in. That's an opportunity, an exposed opportunity for Evelyn Salt to take advantage of. But ultimately, between the two, who would win this fight? I'm going to give it to Jason Bourne. As much as I want to believe Evelyn Salt could win against Bourne, there's just way more skills, way more fighting, way more brain functionality of intellectual strategies coming from Bourne's end than Evelyn. Evelyn had to think on her feet here and there, but all in all, I would say Bourne had to be much more of a strategist during an environment situation, which means even if they were put in an intense situation, Bourne will find a way to make the environment in his favor and to take advantage and overpower her or overtake her when he needs to for an opportunity, like he did before and in several countless times. So I want to say with that, Bourne wins this round and moves on to the next round. And as always, two things. If you guys enjoy this content, share, like, and subscribe. And if you guys like my argument, you know what you can do? You can vote on our TikTok polling, decide which one was good. If you like my argument, Jason Bourne, vote Bourne, and Bourne will move on. If you guys didn't like my argument, you guys can vote for Evelyn Salt. Evelyn Salt will move on. And as always, No Purse fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.